Yep. Alright, let's go. Give me a second to get everything straight. Shout out to Mobile in the building. Give me a second to get everything straight. Shout out to everybody on the replay. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. Bro. Put that out there, man. Put that out there. Why am I just now finding out you a doctor, bro? I know it don't mean a lot to you, right? It's like, yo. Just another guy. But in all actuality, we need more of that visualization out there. I've been seeing you all spread out all across the internet. Dr. Lamont Hill. And we can use that frequency. We can use that frequency, as we will see tonight with what we're going to discuss. My name is Jamel Saladin. This is the Poker Face Society. I have returned to the YouTube partnership program. Feel free to like, subscribe, and support in any way you may see fit. All right. Let's do this. Bring this down a little bit. Have that lightly playing in the background. All right, cool. I want to talk about what kind of started, what inspired today's show. What inspired today's show? And if you do stick around to at least the middle of the show, end to the end, I'm gonna give you some information that you can use. So this is how it all started. This is how I got started on today's show. I told you guys that I don't know if I told you I was gonna really start buckling down and start learning how to create AI agents. So as I'm buckling down to start learning how to create AI agents, I have been in IT for over a decade, but we all don't do programming, right? So my programming skills was pretty much weak. Not strong enough to like really be a developer, and I didn't think I liked it. I didn't think I liked doing it. But that may have something to do with the way I was taught. So as I started wanting to get into this, I started wanting to get into calculus for whatever reason. Calculus, someone was leading me down, like, yo, get into calculus. So I'm like, yo, let me see what this calculus is all about. So I started to get into calculus, right, and pre-calc, right. Any websites that I could really get a hold of, Khan Academy, this, that, and the third. But then something led me back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you guys in the middle of this show in about an hour. Yeah, in about an hour. All the tools that I used that helped me out, including ChatGPT, because there were some things I did not know about ChatGPT that I now know. So, as I'm getting into calc, I see something familiar from programming. It's called a function, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought a function was something made up from computer programming. And it turns out that a lot of computer programming comes from mathematics, right? So I'm like, damn. I dropped the ball there by not really understanding these different subsidiaries or variations of mathematics. Like, I don't know why I did that. It wasn't, but we do stupid stuff, especially when we're young. So I said, okay. I get into this thing and something leads me to show me in ChatGPT where you can, I'm going to show you guys later. You could pick something and it's going to help you in that area, right? So I'm like, mathematics, help me in mathematics. So me and ChatGPT, we got a whole regimen going on where it's starting to show me calculus, but it's also, it asked me, yo, why do you want to learn this? And I told it, yo, I want to learn this so I could be a bit better programmer because I'm about to build these AI agents, this, that, and the third. It was like, oh, okay. And it was asking me so it could give me real world scenarios. That's why I was asking me, why do you want to learn this? So it was like, okay. It gave me a couple of options. Where you want to start, this, that, and the third. So we ended up starting with something called a slope, right? To kind of see how rapidly things change, right? Because that is like the purpose of calculus, right? Seeing how things change, right? The movements of the physics and how fast they change and these things here. So it started me off with something called the slope, which I now know the formula for, spending all these hours on it with ChatGPT. Been doing this for about 2 days now, which brought me to another topic of why it takes so long to learn something when it seems like the right teacher could teach you this in no time flat. But I digress. So it's teaching me the slope, this, that, and the third. It had me write several programs. Let me show you some of the stuff that I was working on. Alright, so this was like one of the programs that I was working on today. You probably can't see it. And I don't even know if I could. Oh, I can zoom in a little bit. So I just found this compiler online, right? This is something that you could type in Python and it'll give you the results on one side. You could type it on one side of the screen and it'll give you the results on the other side of the screen, right? And I learned all of this in 2 days, but I understand it. It wasn't just like copying it. No, I understand what I wrote. I understand the code that I wrote. And I understand the mathematics, which is, I say it's crazy because I did not know this 2 days ago. I swear to God. But just sitting down, I mean, I would pick up my head every now and again and I see something about Jim Jones inviting Shannon Sharp to this, that, and the third, and I just ignore it and keep my head down. Like, yo, just keep your head down and keep learning, champ. So, learning slope in calculus, how fast something changes to subgroups. It led me to ask a question about the decline of reading scores, because for whatever reason, I really thought that the reading scores declined from 1965 to now. May be true, it may not be true, but nonetheless, it led me down a different type of gateway, right? It took me somewhere else, bro. Took me somewhere else. So I want to start here. And shout out to everybody on the replay, because I don't think that YouTube is going to share this video. And that's fine. It just proves that everything that we've been saying is right. Because I've done enough shows, right, where it proves, like, if I do a show about Trump and the administration, it's gonna push that, right? I could get 100 and some people in here, and by the end of the show, it's gonna say I had 18,000 people watching, and most people, they just gonna keep that same formula until they could just build up a audience. And to me, it's a waste of time, right? Chasing, what am I chasing? You're chasing likes, you're chasing views. I don't. So a lot of times, I just want to do the show I want to do, the things that interest me. Now, going down this rabbit hole, I got to this. The education gap you won't see on the news. Reading scores are dropping, but who's failing the fastest? Right? Who's falling the fastest? Now, that sounds like a boring topic. But it wasn't boring when I was actually getting the numbers, right? As I was actually doing this, it wasn't boring at all. Actually, some portions of this research actually had me teared up a little bit. But we'll get to that. So, tonight, I don't know if I ever heard of this institution, but I think this is my first time hearing about them. So I wouldn't even really know how to pronounce this acronym. NAEP. 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 Give me 1 second. What's NAEP and who is in charge? NAEP, or the National Assessment of Educational Progress, is the nation's report card. It's the only national representative and continuing assessment of what America's students know and can do in various subjects. I found this wild. To believe. Give me a second. I just want to see how much YouTube is sabotaging this program right now. Okay, we got a few people. They're not letting a lot of people in right now, but that's enough. At least they're letting 4. They are funny. They are a funny platform, bro. They are a hilarious platform. It really makes it seem like no one is interested in these type of topics, but everyone's interested in the negative energy frequency, right? You put up something, but that's not. I'm mocking. I'm being facetious because I know that's not the case, and I know they control the threshold of who sees what. But let us carry on. Let us move on. Me looking into them, I ran into this guy. I actually have a website. Give me 1 second. There we go. Here's the website. His name is Andrew Ho. National Academy of Education. At first, I thought I had the wrong. I arrived at the wrong spot, right? Because I said, this doesn't have nothing to do with NAEP. But then I just kept on reading his bio. It says, Andrew Ho is the Charles William Eliot Professor of Education at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. He is a psychometrician whose research aims to improve the design, use, and interpretation of test scores and educational policy and practice. So that's what made me keep on reading. I said, I might be in the right spot. Right? Because National Academy of Education don't sound nothing like what I just read. So I kept on reading. Professor Ho is known for his research documenting the misuse of proficiency-based statistics in state and federal policy analysis. So I said, okay, I'm interested in this. Because I don't know how they mean this yet. But let me keep reading. Now you got my attention. He has also clarified properties of student growth models for both technical and general audiences. His scholarship advocates for designing evaluative metrics to achieve multiple criteria. Metrics must be accurate, but also transparent to target audiences and resistance to inflation under high stakes. Professor Ho is the director of the Carnegie Foundation for Advancement of Teaching and have served on the governing boards of the National Council on Measurement in Education and the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Boom. So there it goes. Now, I got two things out of this. Well, I was glad I kept on reading. There was actually a lot going on there. One, I found out he's connected with the Carnegie Foundation. I have a mistrust for the Carnegie Foundation because they have used their philanthropy in the past. Not just Carnegie, but also Rockefeller. They have used their philanthropy to control areas of life in ways that the people would not understand because of how they did it. It wasn't apparent, right? It was very from a distance. It was very elusive. An example. I'm not saying this happened. I'm just giving an example. George Soros, if he decides to give money to a group that's called Black Lives Matter, right? And then after he gives the money to a group that's called Black Lives Matter, it's kind of like he has, because he gave the money, he is definitely has so much say so in which direction that organization goes in. And what are the things that they should support. So let me give you something. Suppose that he wanted them to support more of a DEI atmosphere, for lack of a better word right now, right? Suppose he wanted them to visually like to be apparent in their support for DEI, right? But this is the face of Black Lives Matter, which has nothing to do so much with the real protagonist in DEI, right? They try to use the blackface when they needed it, like when they was losing funding. And this is my opinion. When they was losing funding, then they was coming. They was like, "Yeah, black listen, black people, what you gonna do? They're gonna take all the money, black people from the programs, black people, right?" But as before the money was threatened, it didn't seem like they really was that concerned. It seemed they was more concerned with transgenders, straight out, right? I didn't see a lot of support for the handicap, right? But this is what they was always claiming, Always claiming, DEI's for the black people, handicap. and the transgenders and the gays. But it didn't really seem like that. It just seemed like it was a lot of money for homosexuality and transgender nonsense, right? They gave a lot of money to television shows to intrude, right, on the traditional type of programming that we were used to as a family. Right? So it, with the DEI money, they was able to come up. Yeah, thank you for that. That was the word, Mobile. They was able to come through with the DEI money and break up the visualization and the representation of the traditional core family. Which, by the way, that is what it keeps producing life, man. A man and a woman. And you're talking to somebody who doesn't believe that a man and a woman is just supposed to be out here bumping and grinding, right? But there's supposed to be a purpose. I mean, the ancient scriptures speak of this, and they say, that the instruction said from God, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. But it also talks about in the Bible, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So there's a lot of direction in the Bible that tells us, leave your mother and your father. Go cleave to a woman. Go start your own tribe. You understand? Be fruitful and multiply. Start a family. I have my own theory about why there's a whole different group down here that's trying to eradicate that structure. But nonetheless, you had people like Carnegie, in my opinion, people like Rockefeller, that wanted to disrupt the normal, natural flow of things, right? So every time I see, first of all, their name, anytime I see someone that's even working this far up in the food chain, right? He's a director of the Carnegie Foundation for Advancement of Teaching. That you don't get there by mistake. I just want to tell you that you don't end up there by mistake, and you have been vetted if you've gotten there, right? It's not like you just put in for an app and it's like a lottery and you just lucked up. No, none of that. There's scouts out here that could kind of see talent and see who's going to be the next person up. So when I see him, I said, oh, okay. I don't know whose team he's playing for, but when I went back to a few sentences back, he has clarified properties of student growth models for both technical and general. His scholarship, no, not that one right there. This one right here. Aims to improve the design, use, and interpretation of test scores in educational policy and practice. When I read that, I said that could be good or bad. I don't know if he's authentic really for the people or not, right? He works for these people. So that's where my skepticism has come in. Is now check it. It don't mean that he is part of some type of Illuminati shadow government people to bring that person in the position to bring down the people. It doesn't mean that. I'm just going off of hindsight, how people have gotten these positions and really they were a puppet the entire time, right? But we can give them the benefit of the doubt just to continue on the show. But I just wanted to acknowledge who he was, just in case you guys want to look this up later, right? FYI, sidebar, I'm just so tired of talking stupidness, right? Not that I talk a lot of stupidness, but YouTube wants you to talk stupidness all the time. Or they're not going to support, right? You may have If your channel's big already, then you cool. Sometimes they shadow. I've seen them shadow ban big YouTube channels too. But if you're a small channel like mine, and you want to talk anything that may disrupt or wake up the people, good luck. But listen, let's get back to this. And shout out, I didn't give my acknowledgments to everybody in the house yet, so don't think I seen you and just I'm ignoring you. I didn't acknowledge anybody yet. I will in a second. But I'm kind of excited about this program, so let's just keep going, right? So I did my little research on Andrew Ho. That was my assessment there. Right? Now, I was kind of gassed up, like I said. I started teaching myself calculus, and I'm only like 2 days in, and already I know how to get the slope of something. So, my head is big. I'm thinking I'm all that right now. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good because not only am I learning calculus, that's what I'm using ChatGPT for anyway. I'm also learning Python. Yeah. Yo, you're talking to somebody who went to college for this, and I could not learn it in there because of the teaching style. Now, let me tell you about the teaching style. It sucked, right? So when I went to school for this, I could tell the professor didn't want me asking questions. It was kind of like hold all questions to the end. You know why? The professor, who I had already made tenure, I had professors, my database teacher, she sucked at teaching, bro. She sucked at teaching. She didn't want you to ask her no questions, right? If you asked any questions, she would tell you, like, all right, first of all, she would try to belittle you, right? Yeah, okay, you need a lot of help, so try to get with me outside of the school, the classroom hours, so we don't hold everybody back. Stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like, all right, cool. Little did she know I was going to call her on her bluff, and every teacher that said that, I was at their door asking for extra help. I'm hunting you down, Jack. Yeah, that part right there. I'm hunting you down. And she would have to, they would give me the help, but they didn't want me asking any questions inside the class. She had created this curriculum like a decade ago and had it on autopilot. So really, it was just like, without a student like me, it would go smooth because she memorized whatever she was supposed to say during that class. She'd say it. She was still using the books from way back then, the same homework lesson, the same everything. She didn't. Teachers like that don't really care. They think it's not affecting anybody, but it is affecting people because everyone doesn't learn the same, right? So, nonetheless, somehow I passed, but I almost failed. But then again, I don't even think, I'm like, even for me to make it into this master's program is bizarre and crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So, what the hell I'm even doing here, period, is nuts. I failed Java, and it almost broke me because I'm like, I don't understand this shit. I don't understand it. Everyone that got grandnephews, grandsons, sons, youth around the neighborhood that they love, listen to what I'm saying. If I would have learned the mathematics, I would have understood the programming better. Let's put it like that. Now, why didn't I learn the mathematics? Is it the government's fault that I didn't learn mathematics? I highly doubt it. It could be a number of things why I didn't learn the mathematics, why I just wasn't interested. It could have been the government's fault. Because it could have been a number of things that led to that. And as one individual, as we will see when I get into the real metrics of everything, if it was just one individual, we could give it to like, okay, boy, you just been out here eating lead chips and you just unconcerned with life. But we would, after we run through this whole thing, I guess we will take an assessment. You're going to give the answer, right? Of really why these things happen. All right. So, I get a whiff of this association called National Assessment of Educational Progress. You know my mind. I'm like, yo, who is in charge of that? Right? Right away, I get to the Andrew Ho dude. Cool. I say to myself, you have to understand how this works, because let's take it from the beginning. What is a reading score and why does it matter? Right? So I just start there. A reading score, especially in the context of standardized assessments like National Assessment of Educational Progress, is a measure of a student's reading ability and comprehension. It's typically determined by assessing how well a student can read and understand various texts. I say, okay. Why reading scores matter. Now, I've heard some of these things before. Where we at, 32? I'm going to take a break in a second. Why reading scores matter. I had heard some of these things by friends and family of mine who outrank me in education, who took higher classes than me. Actually, my wife took higher classes than me in the doctorate program. So I've been in conversation with her and a bunch of her friends, and they've let me know that the fourth grade reading scores are used to prepare for how many prisons they have to build. Now, I don't think it's that shallow. Like, that's the only thing they out here using the fourth grade reading scores for. But upon this little bit of research that I did tonight, I can't totally throw that theory out the window either, because I was enlightened a little bit from tonight's research. So let me read this, and then we go on a break. Foundation for academic success. Well, let me pull back a little bit. Why reading scores matter. All right, let's start there. Why reading scores matter. 1, it is the foundation for academic success. Strong reading skills are fundamental success in all subjects, as they are essential for understanding complex information, analyzing ideas, and thinking critically. Whoa, I got to stop right there. Because I just caught a flashback of all those tests in elementary school where they would like bombard you with the math, the word problems. But I never really understood those things, man. I'm telling you the truth. It was so hard for me to understand math word problems. And it wasn't really until I was an adult that I realized, like, bro, you suck. You kind of suck at reading. And when I say suck at reading, I would have to read things so many times to understand it. Like, so many times to understand it, bro. And that's why I don't read Dr. Cornel West books today. Because it just seemed like he go out his way to, like, use all these big and crazy words. And nobody got time for that, bro. I can't be running around with a dictionary trying to get off paragraph 1. I can't do it, bro. Let me take a break right here. I want to give some acknowledgments to the people that's in the house. Venezuela was good. Venezuela says drop the link. I can't, bro, because I don't have a link on this video. It's just I'm on OBS. But something tells me this may be good, because you would have came over here and started talking about Israel and all this other stuff. But anyway, I can't. Sorry, Venezuela. But shout out to Venezuela is in the building. Shout out to Big TTV. You understand? Shout out to Mobile. He was in the house. Stupid dumb early. Ready for this one, right? And this is not really one of those that there's a lot of fluff to it, right? And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I didn't even do it so I can get a lot of people over here. I'm really doing this one here for the portfolio and what we're gonna talk about at the end. And quite honestly, let me give you something right now while I got a few of you in here. I don't want you to, because you might duck out because something is more interesting. So let me just give you something right now, right? Where do I want to start? So first of all, like I was telling you, I was asking ChatGPT to help me with learning how to do math better. So I want to show you something right now. Most people, you got a ChatGPT, right? But when you open up your ChatGPT, right, there's something called GPTs on the side. Hit your GPTs and it's going to open up special GPTs that help with specific things. So one of the GPTs that I ended up hitting, I think it was called Math Mentor. I think it was Math Mentor. Let me see. Math Mentor. All right. Math Mentor. I help parents help their kids with math. Need a 9 p.m. refresher on geometry? So this is one of the GPTs that I use. Well, this is the GPT that I use anyway. So that's number one. If you're not using a special GPT, do hit that GPTs over there in the left hand corner. And they got all type of stuff down here. They got stuff for helping you mix your music, all type of stuff, right? Now, me, myself, I'm trying to create. I want to create actual, they're called agents, right? So I had to, I'm out here downloading something called Flowwise on my computer. Take this, go back here. And this is free, right? Oh, man. I signed out. It's all good. But I want you to go to flowwiseai.com. Flowwiseai.com. And they have, if you scroll down, they have something called tutorials. So between me watching the videos and this white paper right here on how to create agents, everything you really need to learn this is right here. You can YouTube how to install Flowwise on your computer, right? If you really need the help, most of you guys have my Instagram, my email, or you could just ask me. But You can just YouTube how to install FlowWise on your computer. There's a lot of videos out there to help you do that. But I just wanted to give you the documentation, because you don't have to go to school for this, and you don't have to know code. I want to know code for myself. You don't have to know code to create these agents. Understand this though. There could be a lot of competition. I don't know why you want to do it, right? If you want to do this, if you want your kids to get into it, they don't have to know any code at all. You can start doing this, not know. But I just felt like knowing code, I could be a better, like it would only strengthen my skill set, right? And knowing calculus and algebra and all that stuff, like refreshing, rather than me talking about Jim Jones being better than Nas and wasting hours of time on stupid conversations. I said, I can't do that. I said, let me go over here and do this, right? So that's what's going on there. So that's what I wanted to give to y'all before you leave. I don't know who that's going to help, but I hope it helps somebody, right? Because everybody may not stay for this show. All right, let me get back to my show because my computer sound like it's about to blow up. That's crazy. Hold on one second. Alright, getting back to this. Predictor. Why reading scores matter. Reading scores are a predictor of future outcomes. Reading scores in younger grades are associated with higher high school graduation rates and can predict, this part right here, can predict future academic outcomes. Lifelong learning. Proficient readers are better equipped to access information independently, right? Enhanced skills. Reading improves language and communication skills, expands vocabulary, and strengthens critical thinking abilities. Let's just say I was a conspiracy theorist and thinking that there was always a plot against the black youth. Well, if I was on that type of time, and I can tell you this, sabotaging a child's ability to read at a young age would be a good idea if I wanted to if I was going to sabotage, right? But how can you do it without it being evident? That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother topic right there. So let's get into the point system. What 1 point means in real life. Break down 15 to 27 point gaps in the reading scores provided by NAEP, National Assessment of Educational Progress. All right. So let me try to help people who had no history of even talking about this at all, right? And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm some type of expert in this area. I really stumbled across this tonight by mistake. By just being involved, right? Small changes can matter. The National Assessment of Education Progress reading scores are on a 0 to 500 scale. Even seemingly small changes like a decline of 1 point can indicate a real shift in student performance, especially when considered in the context of a broader trends or comparison to different student groups. Now, so that we're just not totally out here on some conspiracy theory, I thought it would be important to put things in context. A 1 point difference might be statistically significant for the nation as a whole, but not for a particular state or district due to variations in sample size and standard errors, right? So I just want to give that a little bit of context. It's not like I'm out here on conspiracy time the whole time, but I just want to kind of be in the middle. Significant difference. Larger gaps such as 15 or 27 points represent a considerable difference in reading ability between students, groups, or over time. Proficiency levels. These gaps highlight the disparities in the percentage of students reaching specific achievement levels, like the National Assessment of Education Progress Basic, Proficient, or Advanced. Below basic implications, for instance, a 15-point gap in the percentage of students scoring below the basic could mean a substantial number of students are struggling with fundamental reading comprehension skills, such as sequencing events or identifying main ideas. Now, there's a reason I'm bringing this up, right? And of course, this stuff sounds boring, right? So people don't really tend to tap into this type of information, which is sad, right? Because you're going to see by the end of this video, which is not going to be that much longer, because this is not a 2-hour show. So this is like maybe 20 more minutes. It's kind of sad that people wouldn't take the time to understand this, because if they did, and they said they love their children, even if they was poor, they will put every effort into their education to give that child a fighting chance when they get older, because they're gonna. This is a competitive world, and I don't say that from a obvious like position, like, oh, obviously it's competitive. No. What I'm saying is, it's going to be more evident what I'm saying as I continue on with my next few slides. You hate to play the race card, but if you can see for 4 decades that there's a group of kids that have pretty much been maintaining and consistent and getting stronger in their reading skills, or at least consistent. And if you just told me that, right? Let me go back. If you just told me that these reading scores are a prediction of the future outcomes, who's going to go to college, who's going to get to certain jobs, who's going to go to jail, and then I look up and there's a certain group of students who their reading skills have been consistent or better, but there's this gap, right? So you have white kids, elephant in the room, their reading skills have been consistently above the black kids. Now we're talking about a point system. So what I'm about to go into is actually what these points mean. Like, so it's important, right? Because we can say, hey, it's like a 15-point gap between the white kids, 4th graders nationally, and the black kids. What does that mean, though? So that's what I want to get into right now. Let me just check. We got Bidolo in the house. Venezuela. Tell Jim Jones. That's why I knew. That's what you wanted to talk about. And you always want to talk about this when I want to talk about something serious. The days I'm not talking about anything serious, you know where to be found, bro. All right. All right. Let's keep going. Achievement gaps. A 27-point gap as seen in the reading scores between white and African American students in the past indicates a serious and persistent achievement gap that needs to be addressed. Well, I would say so. Potential for policy implications. These gaps inform educators and policymakers about where to focus resources and efforts to improve student performance. Yo, mobile. This is wild, bro. Because as I started getting to this point gap, now I already wrote the amount of the point gap between the students, and that's a real point gap, right? 27. We still don't know what that means yet. We will, but that point gap is even 27. It sounds crazy, right? And that's why I kind of started slow so we can understand. It might not be that bad. 1 point gap difference. Even without understanding what 27 means, it already sounds like, yeah, that's a decent gap. Or it could sound like, yeah, that's not that bad. Depends who you are. I got a few more slides. We'll get to it. Maybe it's not that bad. But that number's actually real. There's a 27-point gap as seen in the reading scores between white and African American students in the past. Indicates a serious and persistent, and I think it's that word right there, achievement gap that needs to be addressed. It's been consistent and persistent. So with our best people, right? Even our best people, like, I don't know if he's a doctor, but Andrew Ho, who went to Harvard. I kind of gave you his bio before. It's like, all right, you have some very intelligent people in place. But what is how are we running around saying we are number one when there seems to be some type of evidence that there's sabotage against groups of people within this that are citizens, right? I'm talking about black citizens. I'm not talking about black migrants. First of all, we're all immigrants, so I don't pay that word any immigrants any mind. Immigrants and migrants are two different things. We're all immigrants. If we go back far enough. Migrants, we're not all migrants. But many of us, most of us that I'm talking about tonight, I'm talking about the citizens of the United States. People that helped build this place, right? I'm not asking for reparations tonight. I'm not asking for the black man that rise up against the white man and Billy Club hit him in the head. I ain't asking for no silly shit. I'm asking for just a conversation. It seems like we just been patronized. They say they're going to give a bunch of money to go to this, and it don't seem like it never get there to do what it's supposed to do. Because Bloomberg recognized that when he recognized, okay, diabetes is a killer, you know what he did? He stepped in and he said, listen, I'm banning the drinks. I was with Bloomberg on that. The media made it seem like people went up in an uproar, right? And they wanted their sugary drinks. Now, how do we know that wasn't these companies paying a few idiots to get out here and say, no, don't try to control me. I want to die. I want the fattening drinks. I need the drinks that's gonna clog up my arteries. Now, the argument didn't make any sense, but yet when I woke up, people was out here chanting for sugar-filled drinks, upset at the mayor because he was trying to save their life. Doesn't make sense. But I give it to him. He stepped up and he did something. He did something that actually made logical sense and rational sense. Yo, I don't want y'all drinking that. Knock it off. Stop it. Why then? Why then? Couldn't there be more support for things that inadvertently were not helping young people on their track to success, but in fact helped with the opposite, right? So what am I talking about? Music being one, right? Because there's certain groups, they just won't let you get away with nothing, right? I don't know why one of the lyrics to the Lock song, Stack Chips Like Hebrews, they bleeped out Hebrews, right? But when I say they don't let you get away with nothing, I don't even think it got to do with whether they was insulted or not. It's just like, give you an inch, you might want to go a mile. Let's just take it easy, right? And I think there could have been way more pushback, way more support that didn't really rally on our people to be so distracted, to be so inclusive in destructive behavior, right? Understanding how frequency works, and they understand, and it's programming. So when you had the radio, they played it, no lie, they'll play a song 500 times a day. You understand? 500 times a day. Now you're getting in the car with your mother, your father. What do they know? Right? So the first thing they do is when they get in the car, they turn on the radio. You know, I was a young kid when I realized, like, we don't have to turn on the radio. I was still pretty young. I was like, we don't have to turn. But I was like paying attention to what was done. Like, so every time we get in the car, my family would reach for the radio. But it's kind of like every time you walk in the bedroom, you just turn on the TV. There always had to be a white noise in the background. You don't think the government or whoever, because I say the government, but it's not always the government. Please understand that. There's not one group of elite people. There's several elite groups, and they don't all get along. There's several elite groups who all want to be the head of the globe. So they all have their own think tanks, their own agendas. But nonetheless, they all have knowledge that you don't have about yourself. So understanding what your pattern is value to them. They want to know if you just come in and turn on the TV. If you get in the car and you just turn on the radio for no good reason at all. You don't even want to listen to a song. You sitting there jonesed out through the commercials, the whole bit. You just letting it play. You don't think it would be years later we would discover that they can actually use a mechanism called piggybacking, where they have information on one frequency and they can carry over and deliver it to you, right? Subconsciously, right? But that seems too Star Trek for you to even believe. But it doesn't matter what you believe. That's the thing. It doesn't matter what you believe. It only matters reality. And I'm telling you reality. Anything I'm telling you, you could look up. When you look it up, wear pamper too. Don't crap yourself when you realize, oh snap, he was telling the truth. Well, you think I'm just up here telling lies to you? They've already used these mechanisms as weapons. But before we go ahead and put myself on some type of zealot list or some extremist list, let's chill out. Beyond the scores, while the National Assessment of Education Progress scores provide valuable insight, it's crucial to consider other factors that may influence students' achievement, such as local educational policies, teacher quality, and available resources. You know what I'm saying? Let me chill out and finish this show. All right, let's get to this point system. Right? The National Assessment of Educational Progress score range from 0 to 500, and the standard deviation, that's the amount typical schools vary, is roughly 30 to 40 points for reading and math at the 4th grade level. First of all, that's a goddamn lie. That's the standard deviation? Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's get into this. So the NAEP point is about 0.025 standard deviations. That's roughly a fraction of the distance between the top and the average student. So 1 point alone is small, maybe 1% of a grade level in practical terms. Don't worry about the math. I'm going to bring it home for you, right? I'm going to bring it home for you. I just wanted to give you a visualization. NAEP reports that black and white gap in 4th grade reading scores is about 27 points. That translates to approximately 0.07 standard deviations. In educational terms, that's considered a large gap, not small one. It can mean a difference between below basic versus proficient. Understandable versus struggling with grade level reading content. Now, this is the part of the research that really started to make my heart sink, right? Because I started to think about all the times I was in class. Not much I could do about it, but be the best teacher that I could be. And that I was. Sidebar. One time I got called into the principal's office because I had yoked up a kid, right? He had did something to me. Now, mind you, this kid was only in 5th grade, right? So he yoked him up. Now, this kid used to come to school in all type of Louis Vuitton, everything. If there was a name brand, this dude had it. He never missed a haircut. He had all type of things that probably grown men want, but they couldn't afford, right? But his father could afford it, right? So he went home and he told his family, I yoked them up, and the parents wanted to meet with me. Now, his father was like what they was called in Jamaica a rude boy, right? But he was like a dapper too. So I could clearly see, all right, this is where all of this materialistic is coming from. Father had the gold fronts. One time a Jamaican cat called me like a sweet boy, and I took it as disrespect. Yo, I was tight. I'm like, what you mean sweet boy? But it didn't mean what I thought it meant, right? An American, somebody call you a sweet boy. That's totally different, right? From what he was saying, like you stay fly and things like that. So that's kind of how I seen him. But I could also tell, like, yo, he looked like a gunman for true. You see? Definitely looked like a gunman for true. So I didn't try to BS what to do. Tell him straight up. Like, yo, listen, bro. I apologize. I wasn't supposed to put my hands on your son. But then I said some words after. After I apologized. The mother and the father there. When I finished saying what I had to say, the father said, yo, bro, you can put your hands on my child anytime you want. I said, nah, I don't want that. Right? But what was it that I said? Because let me tell you, it came in, like I said, I could read language very well. I could read. I've been from here to there. I've been from the boardroom to the trap. So I know people. It's not like he's one that I looked at and feel like, okay, you can underestimate this guy or this, that, and the third. Nah, I seen you before. You look very familiar. I haven't physically seen you before, but I seen your body energy before in places that was very dark. I seen you. He came in steaming. Right away, apologized. Shouldn't have put my hands on your son. But I told him I could not care about your son, right? And the way he's going right now, bro, who are we kidding, right? Your son is going to end up in jail if we don't get this together right today. He's going to end up in jail, bro. This is not about me yoking your son up. This is the fact that your son is in the 5th grade and can't read, bro. That's my people. I love your son. You understand? And I can't. This is not a babysitting class. I'm not here for that. So you have to understand who's in charge here. Because I'm not just trying to save his life. I'm trying to save all their life, bro. Not here for a check, bro. I am here for a check, but it's an extra check. I was already eating at another full-time job. That's what they call double dipping. But I really wasn't double dipping that much. It was probably an hour that it crossed over. And I still was doing my job for that hour remotely. I just log on from the school. I spoke to him. He said, yo, bro, if you feel the need to nah, bro. I'm not here mashing your kid up, bro. That's not what this is about. It's about a village raising a child, and I don't know how the hell he got to fucking 5th grade and he can't read. And that is a problem. And guess what? He's going to 6, bro. He's going to 6. So if you can't see the trap, he's going to 6, and they're gonna push him to 7th. He gonna go push him right out there. He not gonna know. No, he not gonna know how to read, bro. Now let me ask you something. I want to ask everybody: white, black, Spanish. Why would you want another person out here in the world ignorant and uneducated? You're not safe anywhere against an ignorant, uneducated person, right? So you can't be like, oh, I live in a white neighborhood. This person is out here trying to survive in a world that doesn't need him or her. We have to understand this. Wanting better for everybody in America is bigger than race. That is what the philanthropists found out the hard way, going back to Rockefeller's time, right? The reason they started giving money is because they realized, wait a minute. Now, philanthropy actually started off as a good thing, because it was rich people who was like, if we don't teach them how to survive, they're going to come for our shit. If we don't teach them how to survive, they're going to come for our shit. And that was when, like I said, first it started off good, but then that was manipulated and it was used to control people. So I'm saying it again. Why would you want, if there's any group of white people around that still want this gap or not unconcerned about this gap or feel like, yo, that's just made up. First of all, it's not fucking made up. Second of all, it could affect you. And if it did, you're not going to like it. It's going to cause you to become a prejudice. If you're not prejudiced really yet, you will be prejudiced once some ignorant fucking person, Spanish, black, shit, he may be white. But right now we're talking about the gap between blacks and white in the reading. And it is significant. It's not small. So I just wanted white people to give some them to think about too, right? Like, you should not want this. You should not want this amount of ignorance in the world that you live in, that you share either, right? Now, we understand there's only so many jobs, and to make sure that a certain group of people get the jobs, right? They're not going to willy-nilly and just up and help everybody. I'm not even talking about the white people right now. I'm just talking about more or less the people in power, the people in business. They seem to be still, black people things are changing, but the face of ownership is still the same. It's still Caucasian for the most part. And for the most part, the government has been doing a good job at pretty much throwing everybody that couldn't find their way right into fucking jail. Right? So that's been another thing, right? So it's kind of like you can't see it. If it's like a vacuum, we're just gonna come up and suck them up into jail right away, and you're not really gonna see this, right? You're not gonna see the issue as much. But this also does something to the wealth gap too, which brings me back to black people. And I don't think white people are to blame for black people not stepping up and just saying, yo, I'm not going to partake in nigger shit. or I'm going to be silent when it comes to stupid nigger shit, promoting more ignorance, taking pride in ignorance. You don't have to take pride in none of these things. You don't have to be scared to say I don't subscribe to none of that. Me and Tinto's been working, right? And I did a show the other day, and somebody said, I don't know. They said this when I always get heat after I go against the clips, right? People love the clips, right? They talk all like drug dealer shit. So I always get heat. Because somebody's like, yo, I don't know. Saladin seems corny to me. Saladin's a nerd. And I don't care what you say about me. I just thought about the fact that, damn, so a nerd is a bad thing. What would you want me to be? A killer? Would that make me cool? What do I need to be cool in your eyes? Do I need to be a killer? Do I need to not be able to really talk the English language? Sit around and talk stupid shit that don't matter all day long and know it in and out? Again, not that it matters. Whether I'm corny to you or corny in real life is two different things. What's real, unfortunately, is this fucking large gap between the white fourth grade reading scores and the black fourth grade reading scores. That's real. What's real is the amount of students that I taught that actually knew unnecessary rap lyrics. Actually knew so much that they should not have known as children. It's never one thing, right? It's going to be a multiple of things. That's what you're going to understand. So maybe one father out of the community because he died or left, maybe just one, it wouldn't have that much of impact on the family. But when you endorse a whole culture to disregard the family structure as if it is insignificant and has no value at all, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for 40 more years wandering in the wilderness. 40 years after 40 years after 40 years. Fucking 400 years you wander around in the wilderness. Can't get your shit right. It's never one thing. It's always a multiple of things that they attack us with. Let's get to this right here. So if there are 9 million black K-12 students, 27 points roughly large enough to shift an entire achievement categories. If even just one of 9 million are affected per point, that's 900,000. No, that's 90,000. My fault. That's 90,000. But if you take 27 times 90,000, well, goddamn, that's 2.43 million students that are not ready to compete for the high-paying jobs out here in the United States that they feed us for the American dream. And let me tell you something. Shit. The first time I made over 100,000, it took 2 goddamn jobs. One downtown, being a cognitive engineer, right? I had fought for a higher salary, but nobody else around me would fight for it, so I was stuck with what I was stuck with rather than getting fired. So when they offered me the IT manager job at a school, and I thought about it, I said I could do it because I don't even come here. I don't start this job to 3, and they let me out at 3 over there. So what am I really turning down this job for? Travel time? I could work remotely. And that's what I did. I got me a fucking, what do you call it? The Wi-Fi that you carry. I got one of them portable Wi-Fis so I could turn on my computer. Right as school let out, I log on. Put that bad boy in my passenger seat and head right downtown. And I could get down there in a half an hour. So I'm going to turn down a whole nother 60,000 for a half an hour? I wish I would. So I say that to say that money showed me the difference between having enough to pay the bills and survive and stuff like that to having enough to go out a few nights a week, take your family on vacation. And it was an eye-opener as well because, again, when I would sit in some of these rooms and I would look around, I just really be thinking, well, I be thinking a lot of things. Like, how the fuck did you get in this room? That's number 18, right? I'm sitting there like, what the fuck am I even doing in this room? And I say that just from my, like, where I started from, bro. Like, you was a whole fucking cab driver and everything else just a few years ago. Now you a project manager down on Wall Street? What the fuck is going on? So, I would also think, damn. Like, ain't none of my dudes from the, like, they ain't here. But it wasn't just the dude. Like, we had flaws. And I could still count the amount of black people that was in the damn built. Like, it's like, damn, this is not good. This is. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think they was like not hiring black people, just not the company that I was at. I've been to companies like that where they walked in and see my face and was like, oh. They definitely exist. Definitely exist. I just don't think that was the company that I was at, right? He was giving people chances, Jack. He wasn't Caucasian himself, but he definitely understood the importance of a Caucasian face, though. I could tell you that. I mean, he hired a lot of Caucasian vice presidents from all over the world. Not to say these guys weren't good guys. They were good guys. Good guys. But we had some high value clients. IBM being the main client. Some people I do believe was still in a white supremacy type of paradigm, and some things just I guess they're going to take longer for those constructs to be destroyed. But what's not going to help is perpetuating an ignorance that keeps us, like, if you're not with me, you're against me, right? Salute to observing the facts. So now we see rappers crashing out when it seems like you're no longer useful, right? I don't have any use for your antics, right? Your entertainment, right? I don't have any use for it. There's no use for it right now. And if you can't be used, then you're useless, right? So right now they actually need mathematicians, but the best and the brightest. Oh, the competition is on. The competition is on. They need the best and the brightest. And this is what I teach my daughter. Listen, you're going to be up against the best and the best in the world. They're coming. All of y'all are gunning for one spot, right? So don't slack. Somebody's slacking right now. While they slacking, you have to study. $2.43 million students pushed out in the open. Just pushed through school. I want to talk about something called effect size. What does effect size mean in statistics? In statistics, effect size is a measure that quantifies. The trick is, if you hear quantify, then just think of quantity and you think of numbers. So, quantifies the strength or magnitude of the relationship between two variables or the difference between two groups. It goes beyond just knowing if a difference or relationship exists and tells us how large or important that difference or relationship is in practical terms. Effect size. Statistical significance indicates the likelihood that an observed result occurred by a chance, right? A low value suggests that the result is unlikely due to a random variation. Mobile, exactly. Check this one out, mobile. Check this one out. When I read this shit, right? Because I use the website and I use two different AIs against each other to get this information. So I actually first got this from Gemini AI. I took what it said and I gave it to ChatGPT to see if it agreed with it, right? About statistics. Now, like I told you at the beginning of my show, I'm just brand new to mathematics. Relearning on purpose with a purpose though, right? So, and it was ChatGPT that was been my teacher all day long. So I didn't feel no way about giving it this definition and this description of effect size. But the thing that stood out to me is when it says suggests that the result is unlikely due to a random variation. When I read that, suggests that the result is unlikely due to a variation, a light bulb went off in my head. I said, oh boy. I said, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Watch me. Effect size indicates that the actual size of the difference or relationship, regardless of the sample size. A large effect size means the difference or relationship is substantial and is likely has real world implications. I said, oh shit. Now the original year, I told you guys I was learning. The ChatGPT taught me how to do slope. Right, today we did math. Today and yesterday we covered slope. And there's a formula to get it. I think when you take the starting point from 1 and the ending point from 2 coordinates, so you would take y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, and it's going to give you the slope. Right, and then it showed me how to build a program. I did all of this shit in 2 days, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. 2 days? What the hell are they doing in school? But that was the other thing. I said, ChatGPT, I want to be able to use this like in a real world scenario. Like, when am I going to, because that's the other thing. These students say, well, I'm never going to use that in real life, which is not true. So the mathematics they're shying from the most is the mathematics they're going to need the most. And if you learn that, the freaking calculus is like, that's the magical math. You need to learn that one. Let's keep going. Statistical significance indicates the likelihood that it observed. I think I did this one already. All right. Then I think I had a conversation with ChatGPT. That's why I put the ChatGPT logo here. I started talking to it. I had a conversation. And I asked it. And I'm telling you why I asked it, because of this right here. I read this right here. I read the value suggests that the result is unlikely due to a random variation. And when I read that, I said, well, what is the likelihood that these reading scores are just random for all of these decades? Because I had put in from 1980 to 2020. Because every year NAEP didn't do the test, so I couldn't put I think they did it every 4 years. So when I tried to put in 70 something, they was like, nah, I don't got no. Actually, I think I put it for 81, and it didn't have any results because they didn't do a test in 81. They did it in 80. It wouldn't be to the 90s where they would do it they would do these assessment tests all the time. But before the 90s, they were doing them every 4 years. So I said, what is the likelihood that these black students, it's just by chance that this gap would remain this large for half a century? What is the likelihood? So I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said the persistent reading score gap between black and white fourth graded students is not random. This is what ChatGPT says. What do I know? ChatGPT said the persistent reading score gap between black and white fourth grade students is not random. It reflects systemic, historical, and structural inequities. Statistical significance versus systemic causes. A statistical significant gap in scores means the difference is not due to a random chance. But significance alone doesn't explain why the gap exists, just that it's real. The effect size, how big the gap is, often shows a moderate to large difference, meaning it's educationally meaningful, not just statistically significant. Why this gap likely isn't random. Several long-standing factors contribute to the observed gap. Segregated housing and school funding. Okay. It's just wild. All these fucking millionaires claiming to be philanthropists and we're giving and we're going to give to this, we're going to give to that. But yet, it's like Humpty Dumpty's men. None of them could put Humpty back together again. It's like, how can you figure out? This is you have the same people at your disposal that can figure out allegedly how to get the rockets into the skies, but you can't figure out how to close this reading gap. How to close because this is just reading. I felt like doing the math too would like. The scores are low in reading and math, party people, just to let you know. So how can you compete? How can you compete with this guy? He goes to work 8 hours, maybe 7.5. He's getting paid 125. For you, you can make 125, but you're gonna break your fucking ass, and the thing that you're gonna lose the most is time, right? And you're gonna basically say it's okay because I had to feed my family, right? But somewhere along the lines, there's another family living a healthier lifestyle. They know this, right? You got to go get another job, do the overtime, whatever the case may be. It becomes all about money, money, money. When people that got money, they don't really care about the money. So it's not all about the money. You already got the money. So it wouldn't be all about the money. Now, I'm talking like these two parents are together, right? A father and a mother. Suppose the father, which we already know, there's a lot of single parent majority in these black neighborhoods. Because we don't believe in the institution of marriage any longer. And we act like it has no effect on our community. Fine. Act like it doesn't. If you like it, I love it. But I'm telling you right now, it has a fucking effect. I'm telling you right now. So it's never just one thing. We got several things against us. We don't have enough time with our family. The wealth gap is large, right? And not even just the wealth. Wealth is a different word from just the earning wage. That's fucking ridiculously. There's a big gap there. That's a whole nother show. Maybe I'll do it. Then we're cranking out 2 million plus kids every year who's not prepared to compete professionally in this world. Can't be used. It's a lot of kids. Can't be used. Every year? Yikes. Seems to me that we should not be writing any lyrics that would help compound and help that initiative. It seems to me like we might want to find something else to write about. But who am I? Thank you, bro. Your boy Frankie Blanco out here pushing that motherfucking. I forgot I had that. Today's my first day back. Thank you, Frankie. Is that Frankie? I believe that's Frankie, bro. I can't see the name. Hold up. Yeah, that's Frankie Blanco. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro. Frankie Blanco says proper planning prevents poor performance. And that's all I'm saying, right? For all of us, though. Cameron used to like my comments until I told him I never used to like you. I don't always have to say the shit that I say and the shit that come out my mouth. But I told him the truth, right? He hasn't liked my comments since. But I told him I never used to like you, bro. All because of that Bill O'Reilly shit when you got up there. And this is a younger Cameron. But I felt like he hurt us when he said, like, fuck I want to care about school for, right? What do I want to go to school for? So I could come out and make $30,000 and be in debt. And I got it from I understood a little bit what he was saying, but at the time I also said, yo, don't say that shit, right? Because especially if you're not going to fix it, right? It make it seem like education is useless. But if you can't be used, you're useless. So how are they going to use you? Do you have anything to offer? What are you offering? Math skills? You good at math? You good at engineering? If the fucking world fell apart right now, can I count on you to be a doctor, a medic? Do you really understand medicine? Health, the body, anatomy? Do you really understand it? You know the parts of the body? I'm not talking about no fucking hillbilly shit. I'm talking about really understanding the body, right? Do you really understand engineering? Do you understand electricity? You know the crazy part? You need mathematics for everything I just named. Like when I say you need it, you have to understand it. A lawyer would not be as valuable if the lights went out as the people that would be engineers, the people that would be able to figure out how to turn electricity, create electricity from the scraps of whatever materials we had laying around, right? Car batteries and all type of stuff. They can whip something up and get some type of electricity going again. If you understand this, I don't really need you. I don't need a lawyer right now. There's no courts, bro. I'm the judge and the jury. I got this Smith & Wesson in my hand. I'm the judge and the jury, baby. Right? So do you have any other skill sets you want to say before I send you off to the farm? Now's your time to speak. Otherwise, you're going to be out in the field with everybody else. Black communities have historically had less wealth and lower property values due to redlining and discriminatory practices, which some people still don't believe. Is kind of crazy. It's crazy. That leads to less funded schools, fewer resources, and fewer qualified teachers. God, bro. It's crazy. Our past schools. I don't like to do business with schools anymore. I just got tired of burning myself out to talking to people. One time I tried to give away free Wi-Fi tablets and all that stuff. And it was the hardest thing to do, right? So one of my Jewish partners called me up and says, Jamal, right? You can hear when the money is bouncing around in his head, boy. He came up off a lick. And he has the money to front, right? So it's a government program which is subsidized. So how it works is this. Because he's a vendor, he can provide the resources for laptops, Wi-Fi's, routers. If it's on the list, right? The government is going to subsidize it and make sure that the schools have it anyway. And then he'll get paid later on. But he's going to front the money to the school. Like, he's going to front it to the school. And when he gets paid from the government, he'll get his money back. It didn't cost the school anything, actually. Bro. The type of shenanigans I run into trying to talk to people. I'm talking about just simple conversations, bro. Can't never talk to the principal. When you do finally talk to somebody, they think it's something where you trying to take advantage of them. And I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to take advantage of you at all. It's free. It's free. Anyway, I say all that to say I've been to a number of schools. So because I was in that position where I'm going around talking to different schools, it also allowed me to see the conditions of the school. It also allowed me to see what's happening. And I'm like, man, we are not in a good position, right? And when I say we, I'm also talking about you Spanish people. You are just as fucked up as we are. Don't get it twisted. The best thing you got going for you is some of you try to hide your fucking Hispanicnism. That's not a word, by the way. But your Hispanicness, you try to hide that shit. Because you too have figured out, if they think I'm white, it could work in my favor. And it's fucked up, but that's just the way of the world, so I get it. Right? But if you're Dominican or have any type of good melanation in your city, you're screwed. Along with everybody else, right? But even before we get there, you're fucking screwed anyway. Some of these schools I visited, any school starting with Jose Canseco, blah, blah, it's a fucked up school, bro. Trust me. They need funding. ASAP, like yesterday. And I don't understand. I got worse. I got horror stories, right? I got stories where the board actually went against me. I don't want to go into it and bring back fucking I don't like feeling like that. But I got too many stories of black and Spanish people, and especially you black people, sabotaging the education system because the little bit of fucking money that's at the top, you grab that shit and the shit don't never make it to the bottom. I got too many stories of some of you so-called fucking professional black people, so I don't trust none of that shit no more. And man, listen, that shit pissed me off. And I stick out like a sore thumb because pretty much the same guy you seeing here is the same guy I am in these boardroom meetings. I'm a fucking wild firecracker, right? So they're usually looking like, who the fuck is this guy? And I don't give a fuck. And they find that out fast. And I usually, it's never a good mix. I'm telling you right now. And I'm going to say it. So I found out a lot of these black professionals, I don't like to, really, I don't want to mingle up to you sucker ass motherfuckers either. You're suckers. And I'm letting you know you a sucker. So we got suckers in the street, people peddling and pushing ignorance to make it seem like they tougher and rougher than everybody. They not. They bitch asses, right? And then we got suckers in the professional world who want to seem like they are more holier than thou, more of a prestigious group. And really, they just polish shit. They polish diarrhea. That's it. It's like somebody fucking drank silver food coloring and shitted. It looked like platinum, but I assure you, that is shit. You got nepotism. You got kickbacks with fucking vendors. It's a mess. And who pays for it? The kids, man. Yeah, Frankie, I can't do it no more, man, bro. I can't do it no more, bro. You know, you have all these people, they're part of this board, man. Listen. And my mentor, I used to feel bad for my mentor, right? That's the only reason I used to pipe down sometime. Because my mentor worked for the city for like 20 years, right? He was right under de Blasio. So whatever the old man usually said do, I did. Whatever he said, whatever it was, right? Love the old man. He can't embarrass me. Even his words will come off harsh sometimes, and it wouldn't even matter to me. I just do what he say, right? Just proud to have him as a mentor. But I let him know I can't do this, bro. Like, you work your whole life making it from the fucking streets. You done been out here with fucking all type of drug dealers, stick up kids, and you thought you really got away from all these motherfuckers. And then you get here, and it's like, God damn. It's just like a professional version of the streets here. Yeah, pigs with lipstick. And they got like a circle where you have to be entrusted in, but you got to be vetted. So you got to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way, take a certain amount of shit, do work and allow other people to take your work, right, and pass it off as theirs. Like, it's a lot of fucking bullshit. Meanwhile, kids is failing. And it's like, this ain't rocket science, man. This is not rocket science. Now, speaking of not rocket science, if we really cared about America being first again, because like I said at the beginning of my show, this don't only affect black people, right? If it was that easy, right? It only affects black people until you run across that one ignorant motherfucker who couldn't fucking read, but he out here in your face now. This nigga's in your face and he's ignorant as shit. Yeah, guess who helped him be as ignorant as shit? You definitely didn't do your part in making it better. You thought it was all good. Now this nigga's in your face talking shit. Hello. And again, I already told you, they cranking out 2 million of these motherfuckers every year. It's by the grace of God you ain't running to one of these motherfuckers yet. You understand? Now, if you let this continue to grow in this wealth gap, in the education gap widen, then obviously the earning gap widen. That's not a good thing. It sounds like a great thing. It's a setup for failure for all of us. For all of us. If you was really making America great again, we would focus on home. We would focus on, and it's never one thing, right? So don't think it's just, we could only just focus on the reading scores for young people. No, there's a lot that America needs focus on. Goddamn farmers. I've been saying that. It's like almost everything I talked about up here for the past 2 years, right? This is why I'm personally a fan of my show. You don't never know what the fuck I'm going to talk about. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about farming regulations. You know why? Because it's never one thing. I'm talking about the subsidies for drug abuse programs. It's never one thing, right? This shit is like Vegas. They don't really care about your child getting off drugs, your loved ones getting off drugs. No. They out here. Everything is a fucking subsidy in the United States. This is why we can't pay back the fucking $40 trillion of debt. Because the shit is just one big money laundering scheme. Create a business, right? Then somebody's going to go to Congress and say, hey, let's put this amount of money towards this. And these people already got the business set up, right? So they already brought the mansion in fucking Florida. But they already knew it was going to be subsidized because they knew they was writing the bill. If we get enough people to pass this bill, then it's going to open up the funding for this. Yo. These people was charging my brother $3,000 a day to stay in this fucking drug treatment program. And this nigga was eating good. This nigga told me, oh man, I'm good, man. I got fucking steaks, and it was like some fucking all-you-can-eat buffet. It was a all-inclusive resort. This nigga's in Florida trying to get off drugs. What do we... The fuck are we talking about? Call this niggas he's eating jumbo shrimps and all type of stupid shit. It's never one thing. Frankie Blanco says, the first thing I think we need to get right is the understanding of being a true father. If I'm going to be real, Frankie, if you're going to be a true father, then you have to have the mentality of being in that traditional family, that core family, right? It can't be about just getting out here, having sex with women, and randomly dropping your seed all over the United States. Like, that's what it can't be about. And people often like to remind me, yo, this ain't the olden times. No fucking duh. But I think they had it right, though, bro. Because I don't think it was perfect, right? But damn it, bro. It don't seem like this is it. Just a nation of fatherless children and single mothers trying to figure it out. Hell no. I don't think you're not going to be able to convince me that this was it, bro. You're just not. But that's my 2 hours right there. Let me just hit you with this last one right here. It said, students of color are often under-challenged or placed in less rigorous academic tracks. This is fucking true, bro. So what happens is if you don't challenge them by the time they get to high school, no, they're not going to want to take calculus. You might as well have told them to take alchemy. Like, what are you talking about? They're not going to want to take it. Teacher bias, conscious or unconscious, can result in lower expectations, which influences the outcomes. And these are the facts, man. Listen, everybody, that's going to be my show. I don't care nothing about how many people we had tonight. We have to have more conversations that just matter, right? Just even it gets the spark the brain cells a little bit. These other conversations are going to be around forever. Trust me. And I'm tired of people using the culture for their own private come up, right? Jim Jones knows damn well he's not better than Nas. So why should I engage myself in such a stupid ass conversation for days at a time? Right? It's a ridiculous conversation. But he's going to use it just like he went. This conversation started with Nas. Somehow he ends up on Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp show. And now he's challenging Shannon Sharp. It's not going to stop. Right? Because I guess you're not selling out Madison Square Garden anytime soon, so you got to keep it going. You got to keep it going. I look up. It's 3 days of a ridiculous conversation, and in the last 2 days, I learned calculus and computer programming, and started getting into how to create AI agents and understanding it. So which one do you think I'm going to want to really give my time to so I don't feel like an asshole later on? All right, as I end my show, let me just give it to you guys one more time. I'm going to give you, all right, hold on. Let me sign back in. All right, cool. Now, this is flow wise. Like I said before, you got some time off, man. Come over here. go to YouTube and just type in Flow Wise for beginners. They got a brand new. This is not the Flow Wise that I started with, right? So they got a brand new dashboard, and this is agent flows, right? Suppose I want to start a new agent flow. I would come over here. This would make me say, "Oh, I don't know this version," and let me start from the beginning, right? So you don't need coding for this. This would be an agent. You would just take this, put this over here like this, right? When you would open this up, you would put in your. I don't want to put in anything that, and I may not even want you to see what I'm doing. Then after you put that in, you would connect this here, right? Now, if you really want to understand, and all of this is free, you can just go to flowwiseai.com. I'm learning all of this for free. This is what I gave at the middle of my. I'm just showing you how I do what I do, right? And the other thing that I did was in my chat, because most people have ChatGPT, but they're not going to the GPTs over here in the left-hand corner. When you go into the left-hand corner and you type and you hit the GPTs, that's like a marketplace for different ChatGPTs, and they have ChatGPTs for everything, for workout, for astrology, for everything, right? So I chose the one for Math Mentor. This one right here. And this is the one. And when it came up, I told it, speak to me like I'm a beginner. And it's been teaching me math for 2 days. Like, we've been really, but you look, study mentor, math, science, coding, economics. So I think it's ridiculous that such a industrial revolution would present itself where you could be at the forefront and you don't even try, right? And you don't have to be the next Bill Gates to where like, oh, you become famous, but at least you won't get left behind because you was talking about some dumb shit while you had the opportunity to learn with everybody else, but you chose to, every time a stupid ass conversation came up, you decide to talk about that dumb ass conversation, right? It's crazy. Well, that's my show, right? And once again, YouTube has proven my point. We got 7 people in here. If I was talking about Trump tonight, though, if I was talking about the whole Palestine thing, they would have let everybody over to talk about their ignorance, you know, how their ignorant beliefs, and just so we could get in here and we could fight at each other and curse each other. But that's where we're at now. Because I was talking about something that actually made sense. I wasn't pushing a hate frequency at all. I wasn't here to divide people. If anything, I was giving them something to think about. And this has been the norm when it comes to YouTube. So, that being the case, thank you for everybody that came by. Mobile, thank you for holding it down. Yo, Frankie Blanco, thanks for being the first to definitely hit that support button, that what do they call it, the super chat. They just let me back into the program today. So appreciate that. All right, hope you guys are enjoying the Beyond You TV, right? And I'll probably do some more work on it tonight so that you guys can continue enjoying everything over there on Beyond You TV, right? Me and my daughter cranking it out. That being said, man, you guys have a good night. You heard me? I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.